What's going on, YouTube modeling community? Pappy here at West Georgia Rides and Customs. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the start of this great big kit, the 1969 Chevrolet Camaro Pro Street that I am going to build. And I'm going to pretty much document everything about changing this thing over to a Pro Street kit using parts from a good friend over there at MCB Products, Mr. Matthew Inman. We got all the parts and everything in. We got the engine in now. We got the Pro Street back half and the great big tires and wheels that's going to go on this. So moving forward, getting a lot of the groundwork started, and this is the kit. This is the kit instructions on this, and it's just I built this one other time when this car was, or when it was the Chip Foose edition. But this one right here, I've really been wanting to Pro Street it just due to the size of it being 1/12 scale, but really can't wait. I'm really chomping at the bit, really wanting to get a lot of this started, especially as far as the groundwork on this. So one of the things that I would suggest is, of course, is go over to, if you're going to Pro Street one of these, go over to mcvproducts.net and order you up one of these great big back halves right here. This is just so awesome right here. And I'm going to start showing everyone how I like to do a back half. And it takes a little bit of groundwork to get everything to fit right. The first thing that I suggest is, of course, go over to MCV Products and order you up one of the back halves, get you some of these great big Pro Street tires and wheels that you're going to be using. If you're going to use the kit engine that comes out of the kit, so be it. If not, get you one of the great big blown big block Chevrolets that they've got over at MCV Products. So, but once you get your kit, take everything out, and I would suggest getting your frame out and taking the finding all the parts. First thing I would suggest taking off of the trees are the lower A-arms. You can either side, both or whatever you really going to want to use. I'm just using the this side right here because it's easier for me to access. And take the steering axles as far as take them out as well. And build your rear end up. As far as the two springs, take the two back halves or the two pieces for the axle, glue them together, and your shackles that goes back here. Get those glued up, and you don't want to permanently glue this in. You just want to glue all this up. Of course, you're not really going to use this at all as far as any of this from right here back. But I'm going to show y'all how I do this in this particular build tutorial. Okay, what we'll do is, now that we've got this laid out, what I'm trying to find out, and the reason I have actually the front and the rear suspension mocked up, is I'm trying to find the distance as far as the center to center of how of what from the center of the rear axle to the front axle right here in the front. And I want to be able to transfer that to a piece of paper. And that's going to help me in lining everything up once we go out and we start making the cuts. I'm going to show y'all how I do the cuts in the next tutorial. But the first measurement I'm going to take, and I've got a very good steel straight edge right here, machinist straight edge. And I take the first measurement and I go right in the center of that axle of the rear housing, and we come all the way up to the front right here. And I'm coming up with 9 1/16 of an inch center to center. So I usually just write that down, document that on a Post-it or something, and now I know my true center to center of where my tires and wheels are going to lay. So, and I'm going to, here's another thing that we're going to do right here. We're going to not mock them up, but we're going to, I mean, you can see about where everything's going to need to lay at right here. So I'm going to set these off to the side right here, set that. And we're going to bring the new back half that we're going to end up marrying to the front end of this. We'll show y'all how I do that in a later video as well. Now, I've already kind of mocked this up right here. It's not glued together. We just dry fit everything as far as in the 4-link. All you're going to need out of the kit when you order one of these is you're going to need the back half, you're going to need the 4-link suspension bars, and the rear axle housing, and that's it. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to establish a general area of where how much where we're going to make that cut at once we get it out there in the shop. And what we're doing here is I'm just kind of lining up, and I'm going to take this straight edge kind of right here. It's kind of haphazardly. But right about there is where everything's going to line up with, because you see I'm lining up this the kit axle with the back half axle right here that you'll get from MCV products. Now, I have pretty much, I'm not 100%, but it looks like the cut line, if I quit moving everything, it looks about like where the cut line is going to lie somewhere in this vicinity right in here. And I'm going to just kind of draw a line in my mind right about where I'm going to have to cut that back half right there. What I've done out in the garage is I have made I've made like a large miter box that will accommodate this this back half of the kit, and it'll cut everything pretty much well flush, straight, and up and down, as well as parallel with all this right in here. So just kind of eyeballing everything. I think that I'm pretty confident. And let's see, let me get all this kind of squared back up right here. It looks like, and let me get the straight edge out right here, because that's looks like, yeah, that looks about where I'm going to need it right there. So I will lay my straight edge right here, and sure enough, that's about where I think that's going to have to be cut at, right across there. Now, what I've done as far as with this back half from MCV products, everything is square. No, I say square, but everything is level as far as on the mating surface, as well as this back half of the where the trunk or where the fuel cell will be at eventually. And it looks like, sure enough, it's I'm pretty confident it's either going to be right in this area right here, or maybe just a little bit on that right there. And once we get that, now what we'll do in the next video, I will show y'all how, what I like to do is, now that I've already got a true center to center on the actual housing itself. Let me flip this. Yeah, right there. Now I've got a true center to center established of 9 1/16. So I will take, I'll get me a piece of construction paper and just lay me out. Let me find, well, I ain't got a pen with me, but I'll just make a mark like there, and right at 9 1/16. We'll square all that up, and that way when I take this out in the garage and set it on the graph paper, this everything will line up right here, and everything will line up right here, and then we'll know once we get that, we'll be able to move this completely out of the way, and then we'll be able to set the back half on here over the construction paper, and we'll be able to establish where everything lines up and where I can make that first cut. Then we'll show you how I'll show you how I like to marry this. There'll be a little. There's going to be some extra styrene involved. I'll probably have to take some strips of evergreen and make some kind of little plate right across in here, where once I cut all this out, everything will give this something to be glued to. Normally, I'm not going to glue this with just any type of glue. I'm going to epoxy. I'll use probably a 15-minute epoxy to glue this back half onto here, where I know that it's good and straight, plumb, and everything will be back to the 9 1/16 center to center. The next thing, once we get all that established, is you always want to save this back half. That way you can start transferring fender line as far as these inner fender wells, as far as the width of them back into right here, that way, because you're going to have to cut. You're going to have to cut to make these fit up in the fenders, or once the body goes down on over this over the frame itself. So But I'm really getting excited. This is really fixing to start going together. I wouldn't say very fast, but there's going to be a lot of work here in the next few days about getting all this put together. But I will take y'all along on this journey. And if you're wanting to do one of these, I suggest very highly you can use these. You can use these back halves on any 1/12 scale, or it don't have to be the Camaro. I know there's a lot of older 1/12 scale kits out there that you can either you can find either on eBay or what have you, or go to shows and you can find some 1/12 scale. But you can always use these as you don't have to necessarily use them on the Camaro. But go over to mcvproducts.net, bring your models to life, get you a set of get you this great big back half here and a great big set of Pro Street meets, and join in the fun that we're fixing to have once we get this thing rolling pretty heavily on it. I'm really excited about this. Anyhow, hope this finds everyone well. And as I always say, if you can dream it, build it. God bless y'all. Pappy out of here.